Hello, this is Brian Whitten and ET Art, and we are about to go into part 2 of 4 rocks. Having said that, part 2 is a video that stands on its own anyway, and why I wanted to come back here and get a little bit wider for this start of this video was to show you what we're doing. I also, before I start, will just say if you're a young kid, 8, 9 or 10, I'll just put a verbal warning in here. You probably want to go and get your mum and dad to watch this video first, okay? There are some things that are a bit daunting in it for young'uns. So if you're, a little kid, 8, 9, 10, go and get your mum and dad, get them to watch it first, okay? Thanks, kids. For everybody else, I can assure you it'll be just as daunting. What we've got on the screen here, and I wanted to go on with these videos and put 4 different rocks up in each of the 3 videos. And the image you've got on the screen there, it's not, I haven't even got the light under the microscope. The image and light is coming from the open window over here, as you can see. So that's why I left that like that, so you can see that the microscope is active and functioning. There's this little rock here, you can see it there. I'll turn the light on the microscope and you can see it. There is a light on the screen. That's the one we're looking at. If you had the light on the microscope as bright, that's probably what you would see. That's what I mean with the images are hidden. Their acquisition obtained through logic, and the direction also given in the means to get there, and that is what happens. It happens over and over. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the microscope light off. Alright. That's just with the light from the window, and if I then went slower like this, I'm just varying the light on it. What are you starting to see? See it easily anyway. In the first instance, it's a face, lips, chin, 2 eyes, an elongated skull. That's why I said I'll put the warning in. This isn't the only one. I will put the light on this a little bit later. I wanted to do this part in the daylight, just to give you an indication as to what we're seeing. If there's any doubt in anybody's mind to this point about what is on these rocks, by the end of this series, especially the next series, the next video, part 3, I've already done some of the videos that are going in that one, and I have captured images off a rock where I spoke to you about holographic projection. I'm not going to put them in this one because it was a sequence and I'll follow the sequence. They are mind-blowing to the nth degree. Even when I go from this, the warning I put in was when I leave here to go to the next image, it is confronting, okay? It's really quite confronting, so that is why I gave the warning. And I'll just show you now that what I'm doing, and you can see that this image here is off this rock, and I give you my word that the next lot of images are also off this rock. It's just that when you come across a rock, this is a microscopic thing. I cannot come along here and mark it on a rock and then come back and find it. I suppose I could if I know a geologist would do exactly that probably, but I'll slide that in there and you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. So the image itself is not much bigger than the width of that stalk. Okay, you see what I'm saying? And look at that. Okay, so you get an idea what you're looking at. It is very, very microscopic. It's all been laser cut, laser etched. The surface, whether it be the whole surface, I would think in some instances it's a surface. Other times I think it's probably a complete rock. The whole lot has been done. I would expect they just get mashed up into a machine and spat out the back with everything on them that they need on them, and there's information. There will be rocks that have this one here, to me, is only such a small rock. but it identifies 3 specific types of beings. That one, right, who this is the reptilian, you know, elongated skull type ones that we've seen in the books. They're on the rocks. I've never seen them as prevalent over the last few days as I have, but that is what, and just by the way, when I've taken these images, I am offline, so you know, it doesn't matter, you can't get in here. I get in and I go offline on my computer here, so I just make sure I'm not attached to anything. Not that that means anything. People that can put that on a rock and put anything on my computer anytime they want. The skills here are magnificent. I will prove to you that that is the rock, look. There you go. Okay, that is the rock that has that head image on it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from there to another point on the same rock. I've stopped at this place, it's easy to see why. I saw this little black mark here. There's not very many other marks on this rock, to be honest. Very minute, but it's pretty hard to go past that one without seeing it. And if you look to the right, it's not difficult to see that there is actually a man's face in here. It's very faint. One eye, his nose and his cheek and down to his lips. So we'll see what happens if I put the light on that. I wonder as to whether or not that little black thing there is telling us that mankind has been, you know, killed off by those things on the left and possibly these things on the right, if in actual fact that's some sort of a creature. But we'll turn that down. We'll see what this does for us. I have said before that you can get quartz ones, and sometimes you'll get to a point and it'll just flash up inside the rock. As we've seen before with that, you've just got to be patient enough to hit the spot on the rock where they want you to. I'll just keep going around here. It might be getting close to where they sort of want me to get. Yeah, it looks like about there, doesn't it? Looks like there's face coming up there. Like I said, you will get some confronting scenes at times on the rocks if you're doing this. Some people might be concerned with it. I believe it to be pretty much a pretty good history of. I've gone over the other side now to see if I can make the man's face come out more. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Can you see his face there? Just while I flash that in and out. Just going to see this. Like I said, they do have a sense of humour in ways. This is the second rock that I wanted to show you in this video. Sometimes on rocks I'll see, I know I've mentioned this before, a loop like that, I might see just the shape of the rock already, that it may be already looking at being a possible mountain. But there are things that I do see, and I'm not a geologist or a paleontologist or an archaeologist, but I see sometimes these sorts of things where I see there's sort of a face there to me, an eye there, and the brow of a skull. I can see that more than once. You will see it like there's bits of skull buried in the dirt, and you'll see ridges or skulls or eyes like this. There'll be parts of an eye just looking out like that. What I'm going to do now is I'll turn the light down on this one, and I'll assume from this that it's saying it wants me to shine the light in from left to right, and we'll see what it reveals. This is, like I said, a quartz rock again. It's got red quartz. These can be really spectacular. Now I'll just turn the light down a little bit, just so you can see. Even now, just with it down a little bit more, you can see almost another face just come in here as well, with like the top of the skull. Possibly even another one just here as well. Really is quite spectacular, isn't it? As soon as you turn the light on and see what is there. Sometimes I see rocks where there is very much a prevalence of, skulls and eyes and, things looking up. Obviously a lot of people perish in these moments when they come. I guess they save those they think is worthy. There's a question mark for you. I've told you before that you get a question mark. You can't get a better one than that. And when you get like a question mark like that, it's saying, stop a minute and look at what you're seeing, okay? Because, or slow down. You can see what I'm saying there, where that's a very prevalent thing. That's logic. It does not happen if, question marks don't just pop up. I've come in and I've set my microscope up from the angle that it's asked me to put it at. I'll just move this up and just see what else we can get with. And because it's asked me to do that, and then it comes up with a question mark, saying question what it is you're seeing. So generally, like I said, I'll slow up at that point and move around. See the difference just in light angle. The skulls I said were there now before. You can see them a lot easier now, can't you? There's quite a few there. If I get the light right. Some very impressive things. Over here on the bottom right side as well. It's hard when I'm using the light to look at the whole image. Isn't that amazing? Now I've just moved along on that red quartz rock just a little bit further along, and I've got to this point. I stopped here, I'll show you why. It might be a medical condition, I'm not sure, but I can see a very faint eye there and another eye socket in here and a nose there. But I also see, if you've seen my other rock that has the 4 written in Roman numerals, we've already discussed that sort of a shape in it as well. I said to you in the video I uploaded that I considered these statues were printed from space. When you see the same shape on a microscopic level on a rock like this, it's highly likely they were printed from space. But we won't go into that too much. I will now move the light around and we'll see what we get. I've moved along and changed our rock now onto this next one. I'll insert a picture for you. We picked that rock up only because of its 2 distinct different colours there, and just looked like an unusual rock. It's probably the only unusual one we're going to look at today. I stopped here, it's pretty easy to see why, albeit you may not be able to see that clearly. To me that's an eye, so it's saying stop here and have a look at that, and I'll just magnify it for you and show you what I mean. You can see what I mean, why I would stop at that and call that maybe looking like an eye. So I'll stop here and have a look at that. Some images, when you get them, they'll be on the whole page, but they won't on other ones. You'll get them and they'll be more minute. Like the image won't be the whole thing, it'll be just here in this little part in the cave. That's what'll happen sometimes. And when I say cave, it's not a cave when not until you put the light on it and see what's actually happening. And see, if I was looking in there, you do get some things that pop up. And to really get them the way they want you to see them, you've got to maybe do a screen capture sometimes and go in that way, and then you'll get it, you know, looking really good. Move this around slowly and we'll just see what comes up. And you, like I said, you might think, oh, there's nothing there, but it's not until you actually go in and have a look you see what it is they want you to see. See, sometimes it might only be a face looking out, which it does look a little bit like that there. Move it up the top now. We were pointed to the right side of the eye. I didn't see anything but faces looking back to the left side. So now we put our eye to the left side. We'll notice I've all got an indicator up here telling me to shine the light from this side. I've got another red dot over here that's lined up with the eye. That is basically how you can work out where to go. Now I'll turn that down. See if we get anything there. I do that just in case, that's all. Sometimes I've had things pop straight out when you do that. Doesn't appear to be anything there. What I might do here is show you something as well. I think that's anything. It's probably a city that's been laid to waste. Hard to see what they want us to see in that. I might find another spot on that rock. Yeah, sure, we found some faces. Nothing that's really standing out. At least it might. At least to me, it's not. It might do if I move somewhere else. It's not that easy to see what they want you to see, put it that way. That looks like that to me. It looks more like, you know, something that's probably been laid to waste. Hard to know where to put it sometimes, or it might be what it's wanting us to see. That's a bit better. We've got some UFOs up the top here. You'll be be surprised at how I'm shining the light there. See them come out in the cave there, all the UFOs. I'm actually shining that light off the ceiling. It's not shining at the light at all. So I mean, sometimes you don't get the sparkling and twinkling lights on them when you do it that way. So I have said that to you before, that you do not get the same effect when you're doing this with a light and getting it in the right spot, where you don't get the twinkling lights on the UFOs like that. You don't get as good, you know, as an image, which is a bit of a pity really. Now I've just moved on that rock just a little bit further along. Some rocks seem to have like a theme to them, where in this instance we've looked at what was possibly a city that was destroyed, and I believe in this we're seeing the results. So I'll turn the light off like that just to show you that we have moved to another spot. I'll introduce my external light. It's okay, well, we start off with a nice mountain range. There appears to be a few little houses there, but when I lift the light here, I have cheated here a little bit, and I'll show you something that I've got my light source in front of, about a foot in front, sitting on the table. It's off the table surface on a white bit of paper by about 10 millimeters. Okay, that's how I'm right at the very front of the rock, right in front of my microscope, and then I'll lift it up slowly and we'll see what we come up with. Now I've already cheated here a bit, so when I went up here and went to this point here and got my light this area here, and then started seeing, like I said, a very dire outcome looking in the shadows in the cave here. When you get to this point, you start to see a lot of skulls and whatnot over here, all piled up. See how you see the skulls in here? That you see that a lot. That's a very common thing. But it's like I said, on this one it's a bit more dire. You know, you can see that the skulls are washed up in the mud, and there's a lot of human skulls there in the foreground. You do see that quite often, and obviously there was people left on the planet each and every time they do this. They obviously get rid of certain people, whether they are all human. Like I said, I hadn't really spent a lot of time on the rocks of late, but you can see what I'm talking about. It's certainly it's not you know, you can't shine the light one way and say, okay, well, this is going to be my disaster. I'm going to have, you know, a meteorite fly in and it's going to do such things like this. Actually, you can see up here, this is where you'll get your 3 comets in a row. This is what the story was. They guided, if I get that right, I might be able to get the UFO behind it, coming in behind the 3 comets, you know. That's pretty impressive like that as well. Looks like we've got maybe a picture of Nibiru there. There's two little planetary bodies right there. I'll take a photo for you. This is what I mean, it's difficult. You've got to keep your eye out, and you've got to get the light right to get what it is they want you to see. Take your photo, come back to the picture you wanted, bring that up mid-screen, and that's what you're getting a look at. It doesn't, you just don't see it as well because you don't get the movement of light, but that's the 2 planets you're supposed to be looking at. It's what they were trying to get you to see at that point. and then you saw the comets up in the sky, but you don't get the clarity in some still shots. It's only on some that you get that. Most of the imagery is on moving light. Like I said, you can see these faces and that in here. When you take a still photo, sometimes they're just not as good. That's when you've got it really, really, really sharp and the image is bound like, you know, more of the page. I probably could move it further away, I guess. But that's pretty impressive still, isn't it? I'll just go up at the back and we'll have a look at this one, and then I might just change to the last rock. And just see if we can't see anything at the back coming in that way. Like I said, you know that you're doing it the right way, because a lot of times you really don't get a whole lot from the other direction. Other times you do, you know. Not to say that I wouldn't if I was there. Sometimes I'll get to a scene like that, like in the cave, and it looks like it's a war, like a lot of spaceships flying over everywhere. See, that's more like a scene down here in the mountains now, like in the forest, this side of the hills. This is the last rock that I wanted to show you today. I'll insert a few images. It's easy to see why you would pick this rock up. It was a beautiful looking rock. It was very, very unusual. As you can see, it's multi-layered. And we get taught, well, there's, you know, the way the Saxahuman walls are made, or whether any of these rocks are layered. If you look at the images that I insert here, it certainly lends that, you know, ideology to thought, I would expect. It does look like it's been layered, different coatings of different substances. I stopped here only because we have seen already in this video different ways of getting you to stop, different ways of getting you to point things, whether it be your microscope or your light. And I've showed you that we've actually had eyes inserted telling us stop and look. This one's got an arrow. There's a white arrow right there in that corner. I'll just check on the camera. You can see that corner. You can. Look, one thing you might get annoyed about is these grey bits, top and bottom. I found that if I put them top and bottom, and you can see them in frame on the camera, I don't get the banding. It was actually, I've got my heater on and the fan running slow. You can probably hear a little bit of noise in the background. So what we'll do is we'll turn off. Oh yeah, I was going to say that looks like a mountain. This is why I stop here. But I would also expect that I'm shining my light that way, but I can also come in this way and make this sideways. I will try that later and we'll see whether we can get an image in both directions. Just like most of the things they do, even, you know, where you could look at the cross section of the pyramid, it does one task, it does another, depending on which way you're looking at it and which way and what it is you're calculating. That's the reality of it. You can go in the Serapeum. Again, I've sat here a lot longer than I was looking at these rocks, I can tell you, to try and work out what the Serapeum did, and it was because it did more than one thing. You've got two or three, or most of the times it seems like you've got three of just about everything, which makes it difficult. So we'll turn this light down and we'll see what sort of features we get on this part of the rock. And like I said, it is a lovely rock, this one. It was when we picked it up. It was just a really nice rock. And you think you're going to get something pretty much straight away. That's just turned down a bit, so you can already see what I'm talking about, possibility of having mountains. You'll probably have a few decent UFOs flying around, and maybe some snow on the mountains in the background. So we'll turn that light right off. This will be our last rock for this video. So I have kept the good one till last, I thought. We'll see if we're correct. So far we're looking pretty good. Oh wow. Sometimes, like I said, I get to a point of doing this and it really is really amazing. I know I've seen, that's the second time I've seen that today. There's a thing at the top in the middle. If I get the light right, I don't know. I've seen that before today. It looked like the space shuttle, that's all. It's the second time I've seen that. And it was taken out. It looks like it was blown up. That's what it looked like anyway, just in the, you know. Isn't that amazing? Spectacular. The funny thing was, you know, I'll be honest, I'll talk to you a little bit before I call this a night. I've got up early again this morning. It was 4 o'clock when I got up. It was worth getting up for. That's what I'm saying, you know, like sometimes when I do this, the best time to do it is now. Now that I get the banding off, you know, off the imagery. It's just so unbelievably spectacular. I'll just go up this way. It's funny how I said to those would be mountains in the background, they look more like heads looking up. It does look amusing. I'll just move it around a bit, we'll see what we can come up with here. Right there we have the shape of that, those eyes and the nose again in that T shape. That's a really good image there, isn't it? Look at that. Honestly, how amazing is that? Looks like a 7 now. This up here. It's pretty impressive, isn't it? It's a blowout. Sometimes you get to see things and you're not 100% sure what it is you're seeing. Look at this here. You know, sometimes you wonder if that's actually showing us, you know, out of a, how they come out of a wormhole or something, who knows? You know, it looks quite like what it's doing there. Looks like there's craft coming out here. That's a weird one. Haven't seen that before. Although I've seen it look like it may be the planet losing water, but that looks like what that looks like to me there. It's very unusual. I'm just going to move the light now. Now the other thing I'm going to do now is move the rock. Okay, and keep that other plane, this one here I'm going to use now, instead of the other one, and just see whether that makes a difference. Okay, now we're going to use this plane and go that way and see what we see this time. Wow. It's pretty impressive, isn't it? Still think it's better the other way. Like I said, you'll get it one way. It's not to say it's not the right way. It just can be something else, you know, something else they want to show you. It's not that that's not impressive by any stretch. It's still pretty impressive, isn't it? Third time I've seen that today. There's, I've not noticed it. I don't want to panic everybody, but there's certainly, once again, a little cross on the top of a mountain over there. And I think that's actually what it's trying to get me to see as well. It's just, it's like it's a, right at the top there. Hard to get it in the right spot. It looks interesting, I might have a look at that. What are we going to see here? Okay, look over that way. I've seen that before, like I said, there's a stick figure there. That's a person sitting down as a stick figure, right? And it's saying look that way, so what I'll do is I'll look that way, and straighten it out, and put him over here, and he's saying look this way. That's our stick figure there with the microscope light on. It's pretty amazing that, isn't it? Looks a little bit like a, I would expect there's probably going to be a volcano there, amongst other things. Once again, like I said, even in that one, you tend to see the ridge brow here. You know, you're just there again. It's very common, very, very common. And it's held a light a certain way, it may very well turn into a skull or just a portion of a skull out of the ground. Whether I get to that particular point or not, I don't know, but we'll see what we can find. I'll turn it down low first, because we might see something of interest here. I've seen that a fair bit today. Can you see what I'm seeing there? I haven't noticed this until recently. This, what we're seeing here is a, you know, a tornado. I've seen a few of those today, and I hadn't noticed them so much. We've got a tornado here and a volcano possibly back in the back of this mountain here. So there is a lot of natural catastrophe that, you know, we may, you know, I mean, I don't know if this is happening or a warning if they're, you know, if they don't come, or whether it's a warning to say, listen, it happens even when we do come, you know. So that's, you know, like I said, it's I would imagine it doesn't happen if they come. This is the reality of they have the ability to manage all these sorts of things. Now I'll just turn that off again, and we'll see what it's like with this one. Sorry about the extra noises here, but oh yeah, there you go. They're going to have a big dipper, like, you know, in a fun park or something like that. Or maybe not. We'll see. Almost like a fireworks display on that side over a city or something. Yeah, it looks like something else altogether. It's amazing. It really is amazing. Yeah, I think I might finish off there. Like I said, I look at that even at the bottom now, and look at that, looks like a city laid to waste to me. Right, you know, we've got 3 comets up in the sky up here to the left. It's a pretty amazing thing there. I might just let you think, well, you can think of whether or not what we're looking at is a logical placement or coincidence or whatever. I, without doubt, find this to be absolutely amazing, to be honest. I'll just move this a little bit, and I'll bet any money we can not forget what we've seen on these rocks today. It's been really quite amazing. looks like a city or a fun park there if I'm looking down from the sky, you know, from above. You see that quite often. They'll do that and just give you a view of a city, what it looks like looking above, you know. Albeit it looks like a broken city, I guess. Sometimes you'll see that, and you'll see tidal wave again, possibly, you know, coming crashing in through the, you know, across the city there. I think we'll finish off with that rock today. I've enjoyed that. It's been rather an interesting rock really to look at, hasn't it? We've had some rather unusual things come up on that, and to think that it looks interesting over there too, doesn't it? Just there. Now I'll just show you something on this rock. I have moved it, but it is the same rock, and I'll just show you that it's actually the very same spot that had person pointing to us, right? So it's that way it was the person pointing, sitting, right? I've gone that way with it, refocused it, so you can see what I've done there, okay? What I'm going to do now, what I have said to you is they have more than one reason or purpose for whatever it is they do, okay? Everything they do, the pyramid, anything, it's the same as the rocks, I can assure you. But that very thing that was telling me where to go to get the last images that we just saw, itself, turn the other way, creates another image. And it's a highway and a bridge and whatnot crossing the river at night time. So this is what I'm saying about how they put things on, you know, logically. Now you're looking down from space at, you know, and then if I move it around it'll be something else. This is how they do things. It's really quite amazing. They are the design work that goes into this type of thing is really quite fascinating as to how they go about building them. You know, they build these rocks. They're not something that's you know, it's not accidental here. Look at that! Isn't that impressive? Pretty cool, eh? And it goes off up into the hills on both sides there. It really is quite impressive. I'll just stick with this just a tad. I think we'll finish off with this part on this video and just say to you, you know, thanks very much for staying all the way through to the end here. Like I said, sometimes it's this and that. I'll be honest with you, that's something else again at the top of the mountain, and it's a statue. That's not a good thing. Maybe Rio de Janeiro has got a bit of a problem, and this could be the winding road up a mountain and telling us that there's going to be something, I don't know, that doesn't look real good to me. It's, there may be something going to happen there. It depends on how I hold my light, but I can get that. Once again, a statue looking like it's at the top of the mountain there, so just about there. See how I can get that? And that looks like a place Isn't it amazing? Like I was just about to say I'll go, and you just move the light just a tad and you think you get something else altogether different. Listen, I'll leave it at that, and thank you very much for staying until the end of the video. I hope you found this quite astounding as I have. It is really quite amazing some of the skills that I'm seeing on the manner in which this is manufactured, the manner in which we can get images like this that we look at and we can see a valley and a bridge crossing, and then we move up here and we might get something else altogether different, and this is what happens with the building of that rock. See that? Isn't that amazing? Honestly, I'm blown away each time I do this. It is so fascinating to think that they have this ability to be able to do, build it. That it's built with a program. That's the amazing part about it. It is built with a program that just prints them out on the back of a, back of some sort of a printer or something. Some technology far greater than what we would ever expect to have ourselves, I would think. Look, I'll finish off with that and just say thanks very much again. Have a nice day. This is Brian Whitten and ETR. Thanks very much.